to Raider HQ. Show him some love. He is with us. Go ahead, brother. Talk to
Hello.
us. Hello.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
Well, how's it going?
It's going good. How about yourself?
Pretty good. Long time listener, first time caller.
Oh,
Just enjoying myself here.
this is quite interesting. I learned something new. This is the first time call I know, but you've been a long-term listener. How long have you been listening to the channel?
Uh, since before, I want to say like about a month or so.
Hmm.
If I want to say, like,
Okay.
because I've been pretty busy lately, but the reason why I found your channel was the fact that you live stream so often. Uh, and it's not a bad thing by any
I
means
know.
because I like live streams. I like it because it's a true kind of measurement of a person's ability to kind of adjust on the fly, and they're not just scripted things where people,
Yes.
you know what I mean, kind of thing. But yeah, so you had asked me a question about the elements,
Yes.
okay? And the reason why I wanted to talk to you about this is because this is something that is fundamental uh, to how claims processing works. Like, this is the ultimate foundational piece, is that I talk about theories often. Like, there's the direct theory for service connection, there's the secondary theory for service connection. Each one of those have three elements to them.
Okay.
And in order to grant, all three elements must be present. So that's why, like, raiders are sticklers about being able to point to evidence. Like, you'll hear me oftentimes say it, like, the raiders got to be able to point to it because we have to be able to satisfy that we met criteria for element 1.
Yes.
We met criteria for element 2. So in Charleston's example, as for asbestos, I've got to be able to point to a diagnosed condition for element 1. I've got to be able to point to the fact that he was on a ship, and that's how I'm conceding element 2, the
Okay.
exposure. And then the doctor, whenever they do the medical opinion, they will say, like, I think it's at least as likely as not, that's element 3, or it's less likely than not, that's still element 3. Every single theory has those three elements. Element 1 is always the diagnosis. Element 3 is always the medical opinion. Okay. Element 2 sometimes changes depending on what we're talking about. So if you're talking about direct service connection, the actual in-service treatment records, that's what's going to satisfy element 2. If you're
Okay.
talking about secondary service connection, then you have to have something that's primarily service connected, right? Like, if you're claiming erectile dysfunction secondary to PTSD, PTSD has to be service connected in order for you to win that. If it's not service connected, it's not going to go anywhere.
What about aggravation? Is it different for those type of claims?
Aggravation, it's similar to how direct works, but you have to prove that your condition was aggravated beyond the natural disease progression.
Yes.
So, yeah. So that's one of the things that's kind of important for that one. And it's not something that the VA can infer. 38 CFR 3.306, which is the aggravation of a pre-existing condition CFR.
Yes, sir.
That one highlights the fact that the veteran has to prove that it was aggravated beyond the natural progression.
Okay.
So it's a little bit different than normal. But yeah.
Fam, now we have here Dome, he's been around a while. He say, so glad to see collaboration instead of division. This is what we need. Because we know we support our own channels, but we need to support each other. Real talk. Yeah. Now, unless you have something else to say, I'm gonna read this statement here. Let me know. Here we go. Benny says, yes, terror is not related to time periods. They are only about exposure. Is that correct? But I'm not as familiar. I don't know.
Yeah. So for that one, a lot of people, there's a lot of misconceptions about the PACT Act. The
Okay.
PACT Act, think about the PACT Act like it's not one thing. There's changes that happened for Vietnam era veterans. There's changes that happened for Persian Gulf era veterans.
Yes. Okay.
There's different changes for the adding of a new theory for service connection, which is the Terra theory. And
Okay.
a lot of veterans get this negativity, especially like as we have seen, like I watch your videos about the congressmen and, you know, all those bad actors and whatnot.
Mhm.
And you were talking about them where they say that only combat matters type stuff. But Terra is one of the things where all you have to do is prove that you had the exposure. It doesn't matter when it happened. It doesn't peacetime, wartime, doesn't matter. That one's different. So that's the new theory that was added with the PACT Act. And it does not require you to have to have gone to Southwest Asia or anything like that. None of the fancy stuff.
So are you telling me that Terra deals with more presumptive cases? Is it dealing with presumptive cases, or can it be something different?
Terra has nothing to do with presumption. So
Okay.
Terra behaves just like the direct theory. So you know how I have a current shoulder injury, and there in my service records it shows I was, treated for my shoulder.
Yes.
Terra is similar to that, where you have to get a medical opinion and prove that this caused that. So Terra
Okay.
is very similar to that, except instead of like the in-service treatment records, you're using a chemical exposure that was conceded. So you're saying that, hey, look, I was exposed to jet fuel while on the flight line or in my job duties as a mechanic or something like that.
Okay.
You're saying that you were exposed in service and that your exposure caused your tinnitus, your hearing loss, whatever it is, whatever you're claiming it associated with. So it has to be grounded in the time period of service.
Okay. So the chemical exposure, for lack of a better word, is directly related to the condition or the injury, correct or not?
Yeah, that's kind of correct. It's just
Wording is different.
yeah, the wording's just a little bit different, but think about it like it's direct, and instead of saying service treatment record, say chemical exposure.
So the evidence is going to be the chemical exposure.
Correct. You got it.
Okay.
Yep.
See, I was kind of slow in school, but I pick up after a while. So listen. So instead of having to get evidence or other things showing the injury, the chemical exposure is actually the evidence that's used. And if you can prove, like what you were telling Brother Charleston, that if he was on the ship and was exposed, he don't have to even prove what part of the ship he was on, right?
Correct. There's like the fog of history, I want to call it, where we can assume that you were on the ship. It's similar to how like Vietnam veterans, you just had to be on boots on ground for like 1 minute. That's it. Like there's no statute of limitation. There's no threshold that needs to be met. If we can show you're on a ship, then that's good enough, right? Like stuff like that, or other types of Terra that we see a lot of the times are like individuals that had to do with aircraft and fuel exposures, and stuff like that.
What about the firefighter foam?
Firefighter foam, like if you were a firefighter, if you were on a ship and you were part of the gosh, what do I want to call it? The my nautical terminology is not on point tonight, but if you were part of the, some kind of repair section, if you had anything to do with repairs, then there's kind of like okay, we'll give it to you type thing. That's the way the VA kind of goes with those kinds of exposures. But you have to explicitly claim the chemical, so firefighting foam, and you have to explicitly claim the job duties in order to have the VSR, who's likely going to be the one that determines this, side in your favor and concede it.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
No,
I'm a big talker.
No, I love you talking. So I want to ask you this. I'm a Desert Storm veteran, but I'm very I guess because it's something. It's like they say what they say. A lawyer that represents himself is an idiot for a client, right? So I'm kind of when it comes to that, it's an emotional topic to me. Um,
Mhm.
Tell me, would this be somewhat relatable to terror? And then we're gonna
Okay.
ask any questions y'all need. Want to ask why our brother's up and he has time. They sent me a letter in 1999 and another one in 2000. We were, I want to say, at least two football fields away from some enemy vehicles. That this was after combat operations, and they was letting us know they was going to blow the vehicles up, but there was no chemicals in it. They was letting us know, so we didn't start shooting. Let me ask you this here. They sent me the letters, and they say I was exposed to low levels of sarin gas. Now, but there's no proof that it affected us. You know how they kind of cover themselves.
Mhm.
I got 2 letters on this. Could that fall under terror or the PACT Act?
Yes. So who sent you those letters? So
The,
that's
the,
one of the things.
I want to say either the Department of Defense.
Okay.
It-
Yeah.
it-
Then
yeah.
go ahead. Sorry.
Now I think it wasn't the VA. It was the Department of Defense or something like that. And they were just letting me know that I had been exposed to chemicals because they didn't realize it was chemicals. But we're in an open air place. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Meaning we were close to it, but the chemicals it was a lot of chemicals they had in the vehicle.
So the fact that the DoD sent you a letter means that they've conceded it. So that was conceded. So you have been like when you look at your Terra memorandum, like if you're lucky enough to get to pull your, do the FOIA request and get all your records, because the DoD sent you the letter, it will be on what is known as your ILA report, which is
Okay.
your formal chemical exposure report from the DoD, and it should be on your Terra memorandum. So you could submit a claim with that and say, hey, look, I was exposed to sarin gas, and I think that X, Y, and Z was caused by my sarin gas exposure. Like COPD, something respiratory, probably, right? Like
Yes.
in nature. But yeah, that's the way that would work. So you would be able to use that as official evidence, that letter saying, hey, look, I'm conceded exposure evidenced by this, that, and the other.
Yes. Thank you. Anything. Now we have thank you for that. I didn't know if you had more to say. IC says, does that include Cold War era veterans as well when it comes to the terror or the PACT Act or something?
Yes, when the 2022 PACT Act went into effect, it retroactively to the beginning of time, basically type situation. So the oldest veteran could claim TERA based upon their era of service.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, and Betty Bob says, welcome Radar HQ. I'm just listening. So yes, so now what do you think when it comes to say too many expect a lawyer to do it? Does having a lawyer, and I know this is kind of a loaded question, does having a lawyer sometimes expedite the claim process, or do you think lawyers sometimes do kind of slow the process down, or they may do more harm than good in certain situations when veterans choose to get a lawyer? Do you think that at certain times veterans don't even need a lawyer? What's your opinion on that?
So the first thing that I'll say is that there is no human being on this planet that can change the trajectory of your claim. No
Talk
one,
about it.
if anybody claims that they can make things go faster, that is not a person that's telling the truth. I'm just going to be honest with you. There is no way. The only potential ways to speed up your claim, and I'm going to use that terminology very loosely here,
Yeah.
is if you should do like a congressional review where you go to your congressman and have your go to your congressman's veteran representative. And what happens is we call it a congressional, and the congressman sends in, and it's a top-down review. You know how from the veteran perspective, you submit something to the VSO, the VSO contacts the coach. That's a bottom-up review.
Yes.
And nothing really happens when you do a bottom-up review. However, a top-down review, Luna, stop. A top-down review can make it to where
we ain't got no problem with it. Go ahead.
Can make it to where your claim gets returned to a regional office faster than it might normally. I do not recommend doing that as a way to speed up your claim, though. You typically do a congressional whenever, like, I've seen successful congressionals whenever a veteran's claim has been waiting like a year and nobody can explain why. You know, then it goes from the top down, like the regional office director. It gets assigned to a regional office. The director has to report to the congressman's office as to what the status is. So but there is no person that can make things go faster. So attorneys cannot make your claim go faster. If anything, they potentially make it go slower because they like to put in a lot of unnecessary words into the process. And I'm just talking, I'm just talking about the VBA process right now. But they like to make things look fancy so they earn their money. It makes us have to read everything. So rather than just tell me you have back pain due to this horrible injury in service, which that's all you need to tell me, and you're getting an exam, and you know, like, if as long as your service records show that you had a back injury in service and it was severe, you're still getting an examination. Versus me having to double check all this stuff that's like, I mean, they get really weird sometimes with the length of their claim submissions, like 35 pages of just thou shalt and the first, you know, like it like all the Latin, like
in the year of my Lord.
Yes, they buy all the Latin. Now, I sometimes harp on attorneys for the regular claims process because they do not understand that the dynamic of the VSR and the rater and the authorizer and the QRT. We use the M21 manual with the 38 CFR, but the M21 manual is our primary thing.
That's your day-to-day manual that you use at the regional office. I'm listening.
Yeah, because I mean, you don't, like I sit next to somebody with a GED, which I'm not harping on people with GEDs, but you have to, like, people think that we're all doctors and, you know, all this stuff, and we're legal scholars and whatnot, and that's not true. Just an average person, and they need the manual for that because you have to educate to the lowest common denominator, and the manual helps people do that. But attorneys are really good at BVA, Board of Veterans Appeals, and also doing clear and unmistakable errors, because those two situations are based upon law interpretation exclusively.
So are they effective when it comes to duty to assist?
Not really, no. Because you could do that. I could do that. Like, and the average veteran, your average viewer could do that. Any veteran can do a duty to assist error if they can just point to the fact and say, hey, look, your manual says you should have done that and you didn't do that, right? Like, I had enough evidence to get an exam, you didn't get one. That's a duty to assist error. Yeah.
Now I want to get to Charleston. He says H-Town, a veteran has to be a detective and have a good memory to nexus to a file with the medical condition. Do you think nexus letters are hard to create? What are some of the mistakes when people are getting nexus letters that they make?
I think I said this originally, like during the early on in my channel, is that it's not a pet peeve of mine, but it's kind of a something that not grinds my gears, but I don't know. I'm dissatisfied with the terminology that veterans use and the terminology that staff use are not the same thing. The term nexus is not what we use. We just say medical opinion. That's it. It's just a medical opinion. If you're providing a lay statement, that's something from the veteran trying to make a causal link to something. But medical opinion is literally a doctor weighing in on the topic, at least as likely as not, less likely as not. So it's hard for me to sometimes understand what people are talking about when they say nexus statement.
Okay.
So if you mean like a credible lay statement that you're making, trying to link your, like trying to explain your position as the veteran, like I've had back pain for the last 10 years. I've treated it with, Motrin and ibuprofen and different over the counter medications. And I have
Okay.
had steroid injections. That's fine. Like that's great. A good memory is good because you have to fill in those gaps for continuity
Okay.
of symptoms, especially like the longer a veteran's been out, the more that good memory matters because you have to fill in the gaps.
You said an interesting thing. So it's not just the medication that's prescribed to you. If you use over-the-counter medication, that could be used as evidence also?
Yes.
Didn't
And
know that.
the reason why it is because you're making a case to the examiner telling them, hey, this is how badly I was injured in service. This is how badly, this is how I treated myself from then until now. A lot of the times when you make that case, of how you treated yourself, the doctors are going to go, they're going to look and see how you were treated in service, the severity of the interventions that were used, and whether or not your treatment from after service would have solved the problem. Would that be something I would have prescribed the veteran at that time to keep doing those things?
Okay.
It's just convincing them that it's plausible that you could have survived over-the-counter medication. Now, if you amputated your leg and you're like, yeah, I just took Tylenol over that, that's kind of sometimes what the examiners see is they'll see people saying, I have lumbosacral strain, lower back strain. I have zero range of motion. And the examiner will go, well, wait a minute. You just have low back strain. You don't have, there's a lot more severe diagnosis that you could have that could cause you to have no movement of your spine.
Okay.
But what is going on with that? Hold on. Sorry.
No problem. Now, family, we have been. Go ahead. You said about the lower back strain.
I was just talking about the lower back strain where sometimes the examiners will get, they'll look at what your diagnosis is and what your range of motion is, and they'll go, those two things don't match up. Like you're telling me, it's like I got a paper cut and I'm paralyzed type thing.
Gotcha.
A lot of the time, that's what the examiner's looking for in a lot of these situations when they're filling in that background is, does the treatment make sense for what the disability was at the time? So
yes.
Yeah.
Now we have Benny here. Say, how do we request our ILER report? Is requesting our C file the only way?
Now, Benny, I'll be honest with you. I'm trying to figure this out myself because results may vary. So yes, requesting your C file, your complete file, doing a FOIA request is one of the most certain ways, though it takes forever.
Yes.
You can also sometimes get to peek at it if your VSO has VBMS access. It's part of your VBMS record, so it's in there. The two exposure records that you want to be cognizant about is your ILA report, which is from the DoD, and your Terra Memorandum, which is what the VA, that's an internal document by the VA in which they officially concede your exposures.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, go ahead, finish up.
There was just one more thing. It's just you can also go to the public contact at a regional office, and sometimes they'll give it to you.
Yeah. Now, I'm not rushing. I just say yes. Sometimes I talk. I'm a Southern man. So when the preacher say, hey, man, that's all. So anything else you want to say on that?
No, those are the only three methods that I can think of right now. I have heard of other people having success with Vera, but I don't honestly know. I'm trying to figure it out, to be honest with you, but I can't. Um, there's no good way. I wish Doug Collins, like, that's an entire conversation.
But
I
I'm gonna
wish
ask you
Doug
at
Collins.
the end, if you could ask him for three things that would make your job smoother, if he would ask you, give me three things that would make your job easier to process these claims. Oh, do you want to say that to the end? Oh,
Well,
Lord.
I'll tell you right now. That wouldn't be the question that I would want to ask him,
What
because
would you want
that's
to ask?
part of the problem.
Okay. Oh, okay.
People do things right now to make their jobs easier at the cost of the veteran,
Mhm.
right? They want to get more points, so sometimes they top sheet, and sometimes they throw your private DBQ in the proverbial trash. They disqualify it because they want to get more points by doing a examination. So no, I wouldn't say things to make. In fact, I'd want things to be a little bit harder, because this process needs to be done right, and doing the right thing is hard, and it
Yes,
should
it
be
is.
hard. I
It's-
don't know.
Now, I understand what you're saying to make sure it's right. Now, Nacho Man says, I requested my C file a week ago. How long does it take? And is it mailed?
I don't know. That's not my area of expertise, to be quite honest with you. There are probably some other individuals in the chat that probably have a better answer for that. Just because I was able to get mine from the regional office on a CD.
Okay.
So I've never went through a FOIA request, to be honest with you, but I've been hearing that they've been taking 9 months to a year, which is
Okay.
not ideal by any means.
Okay. Now, Chaplain says, I'm 11 months waiting on my C file for your request. I'm waiting about 7 months. 6 months, 7 months. Wow. But can you get it through your VSO?
No, VSOs are officially not allowed to give out information like that because they're not the official stewards of the information. They are allowed access to read-only access. Think about it like that. They're only read-only. If they give out something, then that's a HIPAA violation. Even though it's the veteran's own stuff, they didn't have authorization to disseminate it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know what I'm waiting on. I'm waiting on my VA code sheet. In your opinion, why is it so hard for them to get us our up-to-date code sheet?
Probably because of the process mirrors the FOIA request. I mean, to get internal documents like that, like the ILA report, the Terra memorandum, the code sheet, things that are deemed internal documents, it's like pulling teeth. The code sheets, I'll be honest with you, the code sheets aren't really that memorable in terms of what they tell you.
Right.
They used to be very important before policy letter 2101, which most people wanted to look at them to see if their conditions were static or not.
Right.
Since 2021, they stopped doing routine feature exams like an insane person. Like they're very rare now. Routine feature exams are for very specific conditions or situations.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We're not. You should look it up. Policy letter 2101.
I will.
Yeah. It was October of 2021. The OIG came out with this huge report that said, hey, look, I know that you're doing more cowbell to get a lot of these routine future exams, but over 70% of these examinations are not changing. Mm-hmm. So the veteran, even no matter how much time goes by, they're not getting better. So you're wasting all this money. So then the VA switched gears and said, hey, look, there's no value added to getting all these routine future exams. Let's stop doing it. And they did for the most part, unless they're required.
Okay, let me ask you this here. When you say required, would that be a temporary 100% dealing with individual unemployability, is that still the same routine, or was it affected also?
TDIU counts as an increase, so no, that's not exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about like situations like cancer. Like, you know how cancer is either you're going to get better, the treatment's going to resolve, and you'll probably go into remission. You're
Yes,
paid at a temporary 100% until you go into remission. So that's why there's a routine future exam for that. You
but
know,
not
or
individual unemployability, where it's based
no.
on you just being unemployed. Okay,
Yeah.
so they don't. Okay, you taught me something there too.
For
Now,
individual unemployability, oh, sorry.
go ahead. I want to hear what you're saying.
Individual unemployability, you make a claim saying, "Hey, look, my conditions have gotten worse that prevent me from, keeping a job." And once you get established TDIU is only challenged when you make too much money. There's no future exams to see if you get better. When the doctors make their determination, they certify that you are medically unable to retain gainful employment medically. So, and that's deemed static for the most part. The only way that can change is if your income changes.
The income. So it is an income element, as we said. Now, Macho Man say, are Raiders, after all this chaos of fraud, doing more thorough exams because of all this? Are y'all affected by the political side when they saying what's going on in the Washington Post? Do they send y'all things? You ain't got to tell us all your inside business, but
no. Unless you're at one of those regional offices, then yeah, those regional offices right now, there is some probably some clenching going on over there at Philadelphia and Puerto Rico and California even, because they don't leadership. It's hard to explain this.
But you're saying the leadership, as you said, with the Waco, is it a similar issue, or what is it?
People aren't doing things, and like, if you're just average person doing your job, you don't care because this has nothing to do with you.
Okay.
If you're somebody that's trying to be a bad actor in terms of fraud, then yeah, you're gonna be sweating bullets because they're looking. So if you're a bad person, doing bad things, yeah, you should be worried because they're looking hard right now. But if you're just an average person, you don't care because it's like, look, I'm doing the right thing. I'm being objective. I'm showing up to work. I'm not, exploiting millions of dollars from veterans like the individual from California.
Yes. Now, when did that happen? The one from California, was that a while ago?
Oh, no. You can look that one up right now. He started in 2023 and I think just got caught in 2025 or indicted in 2025.
I gotta look that one up.
Yeah, he's from California and he's a raider, and he had cash. I mean, millions of dollars that he was paying for specific outcomes.
Wow. We're gonna have to look that up, fam. Look, now listen, let me see. I got our brother said, Raider HQ, thank you for all that you do. Let's see. Brother Charleston,
I don't do that much.
You do a lot because you give us the real and you break it down in layman's terms. Now, Charleston say, my regional office in Philadelphia, so I've learned to tread lightly.
Well, okay. Now here's another thing. Historically, back in the day before like paper copy, when VA claims were paper copy, so this is back in Dwayne Kimball's time period when he was a raider. Okay,
when he was a raider.
When there were paper copies. Yeah. So regional offices would work the claims from their state type situation.
Okay.
Now, because just if you live near Philadelphia, it doesn't mean that Philadelphia did your claim. Like it's like I work claims from all over the country.
It could be done in another state.
Oh yeah. Because what happens is the national work queue pushes work to regional offices, and they don't go, okay, we're going to make it to where there's, you can only take your claims from your state. Now, the
Okay.
only exception to that is homeless veterans. They try to keep homeless veterans within the regional office of where they're currently residing.
Okay. So it's like a hands-on thing.
Yeah. So that way they can have quick response times. They can try to get in touch with social workers and whatnot at the VA to kind of correspond. So that way homeless veterans can get exams because it's very hard to contact them.
Yes. See, you breaking it down. Our brother Dome says, with all the technology we have now, why does it take 8 months to a year to add a dependent? And I'm assuming they're talking about a VA dependent.
Yeah. That's a non-rating thing. So there's different lanes in which claims can go in.
Okay.
I've never been in non-rating, but non-rating is mostly just VSRs. They're and authorizers for the most part. There's no real rater requirement on that side.
Okay.
The only dependent thing that raters do is for helpless children. Raters decide helpless children claims because it's based upon evidence. But
And you're talking about the fact that they became disabled before they're 18. That's the main thing. Or do y'all
Correct.
actually go through the medical records too?
both,
Mm.
both. Like you can say they were disabled before 18, but you have to prove that they were disabled before the age of 18, and that's what the rater's going to be doing.
Okay. Now, Betty Bob say, I requested a C file for you January 17, 2025, and still have not yet have received it.
Now, I'd like to weigh in on the C file thing real quick.
Okay, that's a
So-
touchy subject for everybody here.
Well, no, it's not the, and I've said this before, but people are trying to square peg round hole a process that was not meant to be this process. So the FOIA request was meant to be something that was rarely done. News agencies do it, things like that.
Oh, okay.
Like this is something for federal, like it was meant to be for a different reason. A FOIA request was. The Freedom of Information Act is not meant for veterans to get their VA records. So you've got the people that are doing the FOIA requests are drinking through a fire hose right now because the number of you've got veterans who are desperate to get their records, which they should have up front. You know, every veteran should have access to their records. That's a
Yes.
full stop right there. Like that's going to be my VA secretary speech right there. Every veteran must have their records. But you have veterans utilizing any process that they can to try to get these records. And FOIA technically gets them the records, but it's not intentionally what the process was built for. So they don't
Okay.
have the staff for it. They don't have and the amount of records that are being gathered are drastically different. Like when a news agency says, hey, we did a Freedom of Information Act for these 20 pages of documents from so-and-so's email, it's not the same as 10,000 records from the veterans STRs type thing and
I
all
got
their OMPF records. Like,
Wow.
yeah, so it is a different animal. I'm not making an excuse because the line for that thing should be faster starts behind me. But yeah, just a little context there that it's not meant to do what it's doing. And it's
That's
just,
why it's taking so long.
exactly.
Now, let's see what our brother Chaplain says. Chaplain Davis says, why is there information in your C file that you don't get when requested records from NARA or other places? Are there certain things in the file that they don't release? And I don't know if that's what he's asking here.
It depends. There's a lot of, depending on when you served, there are a lot of different what's the word am I trying to figure out here? There's a lot of different repositories for not every single veteran's stuff is at the same place. So if you were like before 1995, 2001, then you're at the National Archive, I want to say, the PIES National Archive thing. And
Okay,
then
yeah.
there's like a Hames repository for after 2015. And then there's the RMC portal for between 2001 and 2013 type thing. There's many different repositories. So depending on how something gets pulled could indicate, oh, you only had 2 of those repositories pulled rather than 3. Does
Okay.
that make, yeah. So
That makes
it
sense.
can be challenging because the more you learn about the government, the sadder you get on the inside. Just because it's not a well put together system. It's usually, think about think about like a tweaker building a house. You know, it's like they just keep hammering more stuff on the outside. I don't
Yes.
know.
Let me ask you this here. Given the ones up to 2013, are there some veterans whose file have no paper files? They're all digital or on computer.
2015, yes.
Oh, wow. I need to
Now-
know that. Go ahead.
There's also, if you were to go into VBMS, like if you had your VSO go into VBMS, go into the claims folder, you can have a paper copy. There are still veterans out there that they're waiting on their C file to be scanned in digitally.
Yes.
So there's still a box with your
Mm.
documents in it, sitting in a warehouse somewhere, waiting on it to get sent to be scanned. All the stuff scanned in. So VBMS, the program that VSRs and Raiders use, can tell what the status of your C file is
Okay.
in there. If they go to the veteran tab and then they go down to the claim folder tab, it'll say like files. If it says files, if it says like DCSC1, DCSC2, that means it was scanned. Really stupid stuff. Like I don't know. It's really weird, the things that I know. But
You know a lot. Now, go ahead. You had anything else to say on that?
no. Ooh.
Benny says, are certain VA officers rated higher than others in quality outcomes?
Okay, that's actually it's a very good question, because it leads us into a very interesting answer that kind of tells us why we have the problems that we have.
Yes.
So the regional offices, there's 57 of them. Okay.
Okay.
And there's a ranking system.
Mm.
And you are ranked from whenever a authorizer closes out a claim completely. So they're completely done with the claim. The RO gets points for that. So there's a national standing for both production and quality. And if your regional office is at the top of that list, guess what? Your regional office is a good regional office.
Okay.
You get all of these fantastic special projects.
Okay.
So like NEMR, think about NEMR, think about Blue Water Navy.
Yes.
Where special projects matter to regional offices because they get allocated more funds. They get to secure the fact that they don't have to lay anybody off or whatever. Like they're what do I want to call this? FTE, full-time employee ratio. Like you can be a bigger VA if you get fed well. You make sure that you get all the special projects type thing. It's kind of a weird dynamic.
Mm.
So if you're a leader in a top 10 regional office, then guess what? You have nothing to worry about. You have nothing. Your job is secure because you're in the top 10. If you're in the bottom 10, if you're number 57, regional office 57 in either quality or production, you should work on your resume.
Ooh.
Because
wow.
Leadership should work on their resume.
So you wasn't fearful of Doge when that was coming through. If you're in a quality place, people that are, I ain't gonna say you, I'm talking about in general, those with a high, getting the best outcomes, they're less vulnerable to cuts or what?
Correct. And that's so you have this quality and production thing at the individual level, So
Yes,
you
sir.
have quality, you have production. Your coach has quality and production for his entire team. They all balance out. You have to be above the red line, right? So like
Yes.
you're as a coach, you're only as good as, all your team is. And then the VSC, the Veteran Service Center, that has a cumulative quality and production. And then the regional office has quality and production too. There's even specific errors that are for only regional offices. They're called star errors. And why this matters is because Philadelphia, you remember that authorizer at Philadelphia that did all those 18,000 claims and they just did them as fast as they humanly could. Do you remember that
Well, I've heard of it. I think but somebody brought it up.
Okay. So what happened was the Philadelphia regional office had an employee that just basically spent 4 minutes on a claim authorizing it.
No, I didn't know.
4 minutes. They didn't check anything. They just rubber stamped 18,000 claims to the point that everyone at Philadelphia now that is within the time frame of this human being doing this, all those claims are going to get re-reviewed. Every single one of them.
Not
all of
just
them.
his. Not just his.
Well, they found I don't know the exact statistics, but a significant number of there were errors in the rating decisions. And that's how OIG found it.
Was he approving more or disapproving more claims?
That's not his choice. The rater will mock up the rating decision.
Okay.
And then he just has to authorize it and close the claim. Basically, if it's granted, he calculates how much money you get. If it's denied, then he sends out the letter saying that it's denied. That's his role, is the authorizer. There's more to it than that. I'm kind of being criminally negligent in how I describe this. But he did like 18,000 claims. There's no reason to do that. The only reason why he did that is because his leadership were trying to get higher up on the leaderboards, their regional office. So this is why I despise some of the quality and production system, because it makes people behave in disingenuous ways. Like the veterans, those 18,000 veterans are not going to have a fun time getting re-rated.
No.
Getting re-reviewed.
No. Wow.
He doesn't get a bonus for that. I mean, like the most I ever did as a VSR, the most claims in 1 year is 1,500 claims.
Okay.
He beat me by nearly, 10 times.
Wow.
And there's no value added to doing that. He doesn't get a bigger bonus. He doesn't get anything like that. There's no personal gain for what he did.
Just praise from his higher ups, maybe?
No, not praise. It was mandated. So he was just following orders. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now I want to ask you this here, what Brother Benny says. Are certain VA office raters? Oh no, we already there. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I thought I clicked. So Nacho Man say, thank you, Raider HQ. If they take away TDIU, and everybody's paranoid about this, if they take away TDIU, do they have a job lined up for us?
Well, they do have vocational rehabilitation. So technically, do they have a safety net? Potentially, maybe, because you can get vocational rehabilitation. You can even start vocational rehabilitation while on TDIU if you really feel like you could go back to work, and it won't hurt you until you actually start working. So that is something that many people can potentially do.
Okay.
But no, I mean, I wish they did have a job.
Okay. Now, Brother Chaplain, we're gonna get through. Make sure for your youngest over there start getting fussy. Charleston say, I got my first determination 10% rating in 2019. In 2020, Regional sent me additional paperwork for other veterans in my zip code. I knew then they were stupid.
Well, I'm not going to disagree with that, because I'm not going to make any excuses. Yeah, I am sometimes astounded by the genuine just lack of competency, professionalism, uh, motivation that there's a human being on the other side of every single claim. That's what alarms me the most, is how easily that is forgotten and how quickly that is abandoned,
Okay.
where the veteran is just a number. And it actually disgusts me. And I've spoken to other veterans that work at the regional office, and they feel the same way. Like it's I mean, it turns my stomach.
I see. I understand. Thank you, bro. Now, Chaplain says my reason, something in my file triggered standing for my tinnitus claim with extra evidence that I did not have. Thus, I want to see what might be in there for my back claim, which is also don't know. Look, you're gonna be the host for a minute, brother. So just go ahead. I do this from
Okay.
time to time. You the host for a minute. I got something going on over here. All right.
No, that's
Handle it.
okay. I'll
Handle
just
that
talk.
question.
So that's actually a good premise. Like, it's a good idea to, you don't know what you don't know. And it's best to gather as much evidence as you humanly can, so that way
Right.
you can make an informed appeal, determine whether or not you should do a higher level review versus a supplemental claim, determine whether or not you should be claiming things that you didn't even think of because
Right.
you forgot that you were injured. Like, just in my personal experience, I forgot that I injured my kidney in service. Like, I had hematuria, I was urinating blood, I had a bad kidney injury. And I had forgot about it because I had much worse injuries in the service. And I kind of went, oh, you know what? I could claim that. It was just one of those things where um, you don't know what you don't know. So yeah, it's good. And it's especially good if you're trying for a specific theory. So if you're trying to claim it secondary to something, it would behoove you to know what's in there, because you might have evidence that actually supports a completely different theory more than what you're trying to claim it for. But that's about all I got on that one. Now, before he comes back, I would like him to do a video, and I hope that all of you will encourage him to do this video. There's something that potentially will be changing in the future, and it's not certain right now, but there's going to be a date whenever certain theories for service connection go away. And that has to do with the MUCMI, the medically unexplained multi-symptom illness. That particular 38 CFR 3.317. And I'm gonna try to see if we can convince him to do a video on it. I like the way he does his research, so I don't want to do all the good videos. I like to suggest other people to do videos too. But yeah. Any other questions? Regional office. Nacho Man, I like your question about the regional offices and the government are similar to the DMV. That's actually truer than you know. Like, it's that frustrating at times, but yeah, it can be.
Thank you, my brother. You hosted the program. Look, I thought you had sent everybody over to your channel. Say, hey, let's leave this part. It's dead now. We're gone. Look, I don't know if you were able to ask Sister Betty Bob's question. Say, Raider HQ, what is the correct way to request your C file? I have requested through the National Archives and was sent to the FI. I don't know what the FI is.
I don't know.
Freedom of Information? I don't know.
National Archives is the best way. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, there's a form for that, but yeah. I was telling them that I'm going to make a suggestion for you to do a video.
I'm listening.
Okay. There's something that's like, it's hard to explain, but there's something called a delimitation date.
Okay.
And what that means is, do you know like the Gulf War syndrome?
Yes.
You ever heard of Gulf War syndrome? You ever heard of the theory for service connection? It's called a muck me.
I ain't never heard of muck me. I'm a Gulf War veteran, so I'm all ears on this
Okay.
one. Never heard of muck me.
Okay. And maybe I can email you and give you this stuff, but
Thank you.
So what happened is after the Persian Gulf War started, the first Persian Gulf War, they created this theory for service connection, saying, and it's about MUCMEs, medically unexplained multi-symptom illnesses.
Yeah, I've heard
Think
of
of
that.
fibromyalgia, think of IBS, think of all that stuff, right? Well, what they started that particular theory for service connection because there were a whole bunch of veterans who went over to these specific locations and started getting sick. You know, they had all those, you know, there's 13 different categories, but there's like neurological issues, there's heart issues, there's all these different issues to include
Chronic
IBS.
fatigue.
Yeah, chronic fatigue, you know, fibromyalgia, stuff like that.
I was denied for in 1999.
Well, there's a time limit on when that particular, like that's going to go away. That theory will go away. So if you were to look at, I might just look this up on the fly, but they keep renewing it every single year because we've been at war, right? Like we were at war in Afghanistan, Iraq, you know, but there's a time limit on it.
Is it going away yet? Because I thought
No,
after a year I couldn't apply. I can still apply.
Oh yeah, you can apply.
Yeah,
you can
they
apply
denied
now.
my claim. It's actually on my VA rating code sheet.
And that's probably because you were missing one of the elements. But as long as you fix that missing element, then you can apply again via supplemental claim.
Oh boy, that sounds like another live stream. Me, when you say the 3 elements, I really love how you broke that down.
I need to find. I'll have to probably find it, but there's a delimitation date, and it's like December of 2026. Let's see if I can find it.
No problem. While you're doing that, take your time. So Dome says, how do you know if your claim is one of the ones that will be reviewed because of rubber stamping?
If you look for the OIG report on the Philadelphia incident, it'll give a date range for claims that were completed within that particular category. You'd also have to go to the OIG report and find the name of the individual and then look to see if they go to a VSO and look to see if your claim was completed by the Philadelphia office and whether or not that particular person touched your claim at any point in time.
So even if they're not they used to call them decision review officer, through your VSO, you could possibly find out the name of the individual that worked on your claim.
Yeah, you can do that. It's all trackable. It's all trackable. Yeah, that's why.
Go ahead, take your time. Keep looking.
No, I'm looking.
No problem. Down to your business. We learning here. We got 21 people. Keep focusing. Jalif say yes. It's how they say you have a condition, but we don't know. But claim it, and we will see if falls in kind of like Vera. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me know. I don't want to distract you. Now, family, are y'all glad that we have our brother Radar HQ After Dark coming in, giving us great information? And I'm really concerned about a couple of things, family. Number one, the fact of what happened at the Philadelphia VA. That's one thing. And he said something else a few minutes ago. See, my memory ain't
California.
California. He said it. Okay.
Yep, the California.
Yeah, the other
the
California. We're gonna check that out too. We're gonna do stories on that. Now, listen. Charleston says Raider HQ was Gulf War syndrome, the sand flea. They don't know where it came from or what.
Yeah, they don't. It's not a specific. It's actually fine particulate matter and just radiate, like all the mush of the minutia of that location. So all the exposures combined.
Okay.
So if you go to 38 CFR Part 3, 38 CFR Part 3, and then you go to 3.317, I just put in our studio chat here. This is the delimitation date. And I'll put the...
do you want me to put this up or you want me to keep this separate? What you just
we can keep it separate because I think that if you want to look at it, you can look at it, but this is something that gets renewed every single year, but there's talk about stopping this because there's a certain time frame whenever these things should manifest over a certain amount of time.
Yes.
That this gets extended. So this no later than December 31st, 2026, every single year it gets extended. But they're talking about not extending it to where they kind of cut off, hey, look, after 20 years, if you haven't manifested a condition due to Gulf War exposure, then we're washing our hands of it. They haven't made anything official yet, but it is something that might, like, it's a concern because this date range for the Southwest Asia, the condition had to be manifest either during active military service or to a compensable degree at no later than December 31st, 2026.
Okay, let me ask you this here. Would it be beneficial for somebody that's already 100% to apply for the undiagnosed illnesses?
So anytime that somebody's 100%, the only potential benefits that they can get from the VA, clothing allowance, if their issue causes any kind of impairment to clothing, special monthly compensation, so SMC, KS, any of them. And then there's also, what am I missing here? Special monthly compensation, 100%. There's what else am I thinking of?
Think about it. Let me read this here while you're thinking. Yes, Brother MG Smith said, yes, I got that. They have unspecified medical condition in my records after Gulf War. Think about that, brother. And y'all say MUCMI.
Yeah.
Medically, and how can you get rated? Look at what you're looking at. How can you get rated for something that's undiagnosed? I thought you have to have a diagnosis.
Okay, so this comes back to the elements, right? And it comes back to the theory. MUCME, the 38 CFR 3.317, behaves the complete opposite of any other theory. So the MUCME, in order to be granted, you can't have a known cause for it. So if you have migraines, the doctor has to fill out a medical opinion saying, yeah, I have no clue why he has it. So granted.
I got you now. So if I have fatigue, which I had, and we still have, but if I have chronic fatigue, the doctor have to say they have no idea why I got it?
Correct. So if you have sleep apnea, and they say, no, I don't think he has chronic fatigue, the diagnosis. I think he has fatigue due to sleep apnea. If that's the case, then MUCME gets denied because it has a known cause, right? That's how that behaves. These are not, each one of these theories has its own legal precedence. It has its own legal process for each one of them, and they do not all behave the same.
Oh, every one of them, they operate individual. Okay. Now, Charles say, like The Philadelphia experiment. Hey,
It was an experiment.
now Nacho Man say, what will happen to veterans that get denied due to the claim was part of rubber stamp? Are they fraud? I think they just get re-examined. You said earlier. Are they, the rate? Are they rated at the correct rating, and will have to pay back, meaning that back pay?
Yeah. So what's going to likely happen? I participated in one of these historically. This becomes what is known as a special project, a national work queue special project. And one of those good boy, good girl regional offices, like in the top 10, will get a special project. And that special project, because they're the best, right? They're the fastest, they're the most accurate. So the top 10 will likely get this special project. It will not be Philadelphia because they kind of pooped the bed, but it'll be somebody else. And what happens is they will just go through and they will re-rate everything. They will review it from the bottom up to make sure that everything, I mean, as if you had just filed it. And then they'll make any kind of changes that need to be made. So
if back pay was paid out, will the veteran have to give the money back, the retroactive pay?
I don't like using absolutes, but I'm like 99.99999% sure no, because it's not the fault of the veteran. The veteran did not cause this. This is not a fraud type situation. So typically what happens is if they have to reduce, like let's say you erroneously got to 100%, you should have been 90.
Yes.
Then they will propose to reduce and go through that thing, and you probably will not have to pay anything back because it's not the veteran's fault. If they, in whatever madhouse reality, if they want to try to do that, then you can file a hardship waiver and say, hey, look, I've been on this since 2022. I shouldn't have to pay this back. How would I know that you guys did something wrong? This is you guys did something wrong. So that's why I say
go ahead. I'll finish up. I'm just excited about what you said. Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, they typically, like I've seen a lot of the times, even whenever it's questionable that they don't charge the veteran, they don't make the veteran pay back the difference. Now, there will probably be a veteran in the comments or later on in the video that says, well, I had to. Okay, well, it does happen technically. That's why I don't use an absolute. But it's a safe bet that you wouldn't have to.
Well, let me ask you about the rating. Let's say if they propose to reduce, would it make sense for the veteran to go out and get another private DBQ done, public DBQ, I'm sorry, done so that they could show that the condition has gotten worse, even though they're proposing to reduce? If they've had something within the time frame of them getting a proposed reduction, does it make sense to go get another evaluation or not?
So that's an interesting question. So the first thing that you, the veteran, me, the veteran, us, the veteran, would want to know is we'd want to get in contact with a VSO or somebody that has access to VBMS, accredited attorney, accredited claims agent, somebody. And we'd want to know specifically, what are you saying was missing? What are you saying that was missing? What's the issue? You cannot win a fight if you don't know what's wrong. So you got to figure out what's wrong and then use as much evidence as you need to. I caution people to go out and like get a private DBQ or something like that. Like I caution people from running to that because that might not, like, if you don't understand what the VA took issue with, you get in a private DBQ could cost you thousands of dollars and you have no clue if that's going to be the remedy to fix.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we got to teach people to be smarter about this, more strategic, because if you're looking at it and you're like, okay, this is what they're saying. Like they're saying that I have diabetes, but I do not take insulin. So because I do not take insulin, they're dropping me down to 20% from like 40 to 20. And then, so the remedy would be, show that you have insulin shots in the here and now. Because, Go ahead.
I'm sorry. By law, don't they have to tell you why the claim was denied or why the proposed reduction in the letter, right?
They do, but if you've ever watched my stuff about short form narratives versus long form narratives, okay, the short form narrative, they don't have to be very descriptive at all. Okay, they have to show, like, they'll do a clear and unmistakable error if it's an error. But if it's just a proposal to reduce, then they can just show, hey, look, your thing got better. We showed
What,
improvement in your condition.
what can a veteran do? Can they ask for the long form narrative, or is that possible to get before the reduction happens? What would you suggest?
Well, the veteran probably won't know what's going to happen to them before they get it, right? Unless they're in contact with a VSO or an
Yes.
accredited claims agent, there will be no way for them to determine what the outcome is before the outcome happens.
Right.
So that's a problem. Now, I always recommend that if you're going to file a claim, that you respectfully ask the rater, hey, look, in the event that you should be forced to have to deny me, could you please do a long form narrative and explain to me the reason for the denial and weigh the evidence for me, please?
And you would do that through your VSO by sending in writing and submitting a supported claim form, requesting that. What would be the best vehicle to do that?
I usually just fill out a 4138, a VA form 21-4138, a statement in support of claim form, and just say, dear Mr. or Mrs. Rader, in the event that, the evidence should indicate that I must be denied for service connection, could you please perform a long form narrative and explain to me in detail, the pros and the cons. Do a long form narrative, please, if you could. And then that way, like, everybody that's ever asked me for a long form narrative, I've done it because I'm like, okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah, sure. I'll do it. Because we have to read every single document that's submitted. So if you're respectful, now I've had people that, have told me where I can shove everything.
Oh, God. That's the approach, family. Go ahead.
And I mean, it's hard sometimes, like, because I get the frustration, but you can't take it out on the person that's trying to be objective and do things neutrally. You will poison the well, and there's no value added to doing that.
Let me read this here before I ask you that, because I got about two more questions people have here, and I want to ask you that. I'm gonna say it right now. Do you think the adversarial approach that many veterans take when they're frustrated is justified, or do you think that we're seeing things the wrong way when it comes to raters rating claims?
I mean, I get it, but I also get the fact that there are some raters and some VSRs who, I guess the only way I can put this, they're anti-veteran. They another one with their hand out. Look at this guy. He just thinks he's going to, and I literally, physical altercations have nearly went down because of that. Like, where in town hall meetings among staff, where somebody says, these degenerate, I forget what they said, but it was like degenerate, just fraudsters. And you could tell who was a veteran because, I mean, the sonic boom of the heads turning towards that person going, you better, what did you just say? Like, I'm sorry, what did you just say? What did you just call me? How dare you, And, they get their little slap on the hand, but there are people that shouldn't work. Like, they're not there for the mission. They're there for the money. And
do you have sensitivity training? Do they train
No.
about bias? God,
No, they don't. Like, it's compounded by the fact that so many people are related to so many people that, they get cover.
Yeah.
There's somebody in leadership that's related to so and so, and they can walk, with impunity and do whatever they want. And I mean, I've seen some wild things. Like
What's the wildest?
somebody, I got to be careful how I say this.
Be careful, because I ain't trying to put you out there. Don't
No,
let
it's
me.
fine.
Go ahead.
Somebody thought that the MST survivor was faking it. So they wanted the MST survivor to send in a copy of their kit that was formally done at the ER. So they were going to refuse to move forward with the claim unless they sent that to the person.
That's traumatizing in itself.
Well, I lost my collective S. So I had to contact the veterans mental health provider. I had to contact and just say, hey, look, tell them not to open their mail. Tell them not to open their mail, because they sent a letter saying, hey, look, you're going to need to justify this or else we're taking your money away from you, type thing. And it was them imposing their own bias onto the situation. And yeah, so it was the most egregious thing. Like, I flew into the office of major people in the office and said, look, I need your undivided attention for a second. I'm going to start swearing, and I need you to not focus on my swearing. I need you to focus on what I'm about ready to say. And I mean, thankfully the regional office, they did the right thing to make sure that, like, the veteran did not open their mail. Like, they had the provider contact the veteran after hours. Like, this was stuff that was above and beyond, because yeah. So I have just seen some really weird and insensitive things, and it's part of the reason why the manual exists, is to prevent people from doing things that they believe in their heart of hearts that they're doing the right thing by stopping these fraudsters, type situation.
And that's what they've said earlier about how it can become reactionary when fraud is discovered, that it becomes reactionary, that they say, you know what, we're going to clamp down on this like we're the popo.
Yep. And that's why I say, like, try to temper your temper and not attack the staff members, because you could be just you could be proving their point for them. That you're just upset because I'm not going to give you all this money and whatever, like nonsense stuff, like just horrible human being stuff.
Now, Nacho Man says, what about duplicate DBQs? 2 veterans have the exact same DBQ companies that submit them.
That is tracked. So what I assume that you're talking about here, Nacho, is you're talking about like certain DBQ companies that complete DBQs, and they have a template to the point that the person, the names change. That's it. Like, the name changes and the entire template's the same. Yes. That is not probative at all. Like, that is seen through, like, in Florida, there's a group of nurse practitioners down there that are notorious for this, and they're tracked. So they get zero. It's hard because sometimes the veteran's evidence is there. So you've got to be a good faith actor and still review it. Right.
Okay. Right.
A lot of raters and VSRs, once they see it's one of these kind of like, for many people, if it's a private DBQ, that's as far as they need to see. And then they're like, this is just fraud. Other people, they see these kind of the usual suspects, and they just look at it and go, no, this is fraud. And then they just kind of discount it and send you for an examination. But I don't know if that's the question that you were asking, Nacho, but it is they're not ideal when they do that.
Okay. And then I think this the last question. That I don't have a question for you. Charleston say Raider HQ like a do-over, no foul, no harm.
Well, and I think you're talking about the Philadelphia thing where the veteran doesn't have to pay back the back pay. So that's kind of how we were that's how it is the majority of the time. If it's not the veteran's fault, like if the veteran was withholding things, or if they were doing, if there were willful misconduct type situations, if they withheld evidence, then yeah, they would likely be on the hook for the back pay, for the erroneously granted back pay. That's where you'll see a lot of people on the news have to pay back that money to the federal government.
Okay. Now, my question for you is, and this is something I've seen happen. You talked earlier about the congressional. Can you tell them how significant it is if you plan to do a congressional pull for your claim, to let your VSO know? Because that's, you saying that's from bottom up with the VSO representing you, but congressional from top down. Tell them how, if you're trying to, you don't let both parties don't know what's going on, how can that hinder your claim?
I wouldn't say it would hinder your claim, because the VSO has, once they file those paperwork, they let the dove fly into the air type situation. The claim is on its trajectory. So there's nothing that they can technically do. They can sometimes ask staff, they can sometimes, they have their own form of inquiry that they can do, but that goes to a coach. Like the VSO's inquiry goes to the coach goes to the staff member that has the claim, and then they ask about, hey, what's going on? So for like small time stuff, like let's say that an effective date was wrong, sometimes VSOs can, and I'm going to say, VSOs, please do this sparingly, because you start crying wolf on stuff, you lose your credibility real quick. So do this sparingly, but you can contact they can contact the coach of the person that's doing the claim, and then they can have it reviewed. And then that has a 48-hour turnaround. So anytime that a VSO gets that does that inquiry, there's a 48-hour turnaround for that. Now, when it comes to congressional reviews, there's also a 48-hour turnaround time, but the regional office director is asking everyone below them, I need a sit rep on this right now. Where are we at with this? What is going on with this? I have a congressman contacting me, and I have to do, like, it's not that the coach will send a response. It's not that the rater will send a response. It's that the regional manager will send a response to the congressman. The congressman's office will get that response, and that response will, and it can be to the point that the VSC, the Veteran Service Center manager, makes the response, and that the director of the regional office sends that response. There's kind of a trust situation there, because the higher up you go, the less you know about things.
Yes.
So there's actually like a congressional liaison that at the regional office that kind of goes over the congressional stuff. So there's an actual staff member that just does congressional reviews and whatnot. So it can be powerful. Like if it's egregious to where the average person can see the problem, then it can actually get the job done. It can also take your claim, if it's been sitting at the national work queue for a really long time, and put it in the hands of somebody to at least look at it.
Okay.
I've had this one time where I'm like, why is this claim just sitting here? Why has this claim been sitting here? And my coach comes up and, he's like, what's going on? And I'm like, honestly, I don't know why this thing has been sitting at the national work queue for 233 days. It's good to go. He's like, can you get it done today? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, let me know when you're done. I will give it not hand give it, but I will assign it to a authorizer, and let's get this thing done today. And I'm like, yeah, man, sounds good. I'm like, it's my priority. So sometimes it can get the claim into the regional office, and if it's at a regional office, it'll put it to the front of the rater's queue or the VSR's queue to where it's the next claim done. So sometimes these interventions can have that kind of effect.
Okay.
But nothing to where it's like, like the Karen thing where you're going to go talk to their manager type situation. It's not like that, like
talk to the hand. None of that. Oh
Mm-mm.
boy. So Nacho Man say thank you for the information. Betty Bob say Raider HQ, thank you so much. MG Smith say Raider HQ sure enjoy your insight behind the scene information. Very helpful. And when I say talk to the head, that's just something in my culture. I don't know if you ever seen it. People just be talking. I was just joking. Now, brother, we're gonna let you have the last word on what's been on your mind lately, or something that you would like to share with us as far as the process or whatever.
The one thing that I would like to put more emphasis on is honestly dependency, like making sure that all of your information at va.gov is accurate. So making sure that your address is accurate, making sure that your phone number is accurate, making sure that your dependents are accurate. Because I have actually caught a few times where I'm like, you keep talking about your wife, but you've never claimed your wife. Could you please send in a 686C form and claim your wife? Please get your money.
That's nice for you to do. Wow, that's real nice.
And the other thing is that a lot of individuals do not know that they can claim their parents on their award. So if you have living parents and they get some financial assistance from you, you can claim them as a dependent and get an extra couple $100, which if you're somebody that's providing assistance for your parents, that money can help ease that burden that you are taking on yourself.
Raider HQ, why you open that can of worms? I'm gonna have to be brief. Look, because we appreciate you being here. We don't want to keep where our welcome. So if you provide 50% of your parents' living, it doesn't matter how much money they make. That's the first question.
Their debt has to exceed their expenses have to exceed their income. So it doesn't matter how much, right? Like you could just pay their phone bill and that's it, like, type thing. Like you don't have, like, it's not like they're destitute and you have to actually like be, covering everything for them. But as long as you're providing support on a constant basis, you can get, you can add your parents to your award. But only your parents. So like if your wife's parents are in financial need, they don't get covered. So
Okay.
it's only your parents. But there's a lot of, middle-aged, younger veterans that don't know this, that, they make a lot of money. And that was the other thing I was going to say for the, tips for 100%. What else would you claim? Well, I might claim my parents. That's an extra couple $100, right?
Yes.
I mean,
and they get the full benefits, right? They get Champ VA healthcare.
No, it's not like that. It's a dependent for just financial means. It's not Champ VA. Like they don't get that. They don't get Champ VA. And it doesn't affect anything else like Social Security. It's not like taxes. It's not like you're claiming them on your taxes. It's just literally like, hey, look, I helped my parents out with financially. Can you please give me some, extra income for that? I don't know. And it can be like a couple 175 per parent, I think, or something. I don't have the numbers.
Okay, but thank you for that. Chaplain say very articulate and knowledgeable. Prayers requesting. Well, he say, let's see. Say thank you again. IC says Raider, excellent information. I'm gonna let you finish on whatever you have to say to us.
No, I really like talking to people. Like I get kind of weirded out because for many people this is a business. And for me this is not a business. My thing is to share information, and like I give people ideas for videos. Like I gave the Salty Old Marine sorry, I know you said not to mention.
No, that's cool. No, you're a content creator, so you can talk freely.
So I just like I said, hey, look, you should probably do this video, because you might be able to do it better than me, because I'm not the end all be all in anything. I might have information, but there's some people that are just more informed about certain topics. I'm about getting the information out there. I love talking to people. I love sharing information because people are knowledge hoarding.
They're holding it. And that's your
Yeah.
concern about you could, and I think you kind of reluctant to do so, but you could use this as somewhat, I had to use the word business. Why are you
Mhm.
so reluctant? You don't want it to become a, you deserve to, I believe, profit from your knowledge. Why you, because I've been on your last live stream, you seem to be somewhat reluctant because you don't like, they've made it like a total disconnect from the veteran. Hey, do this, and I get this from you, and keep it moving. What is your concern?
It's hard to articulate, but I get tired of being not the victim, but I don't like this information should be upfront. It should be like your taxes. If you want to file your own taxes, you can file you should have enough information and knowledge to be able to go somewhere and figure out how to file your own taxes. However, if you want to pay somebody to help you file your taxes for convenience sake or competency sake because you've got really weird taxes, fair enough. But the problem is there's no foundational information out there for veterans to just get a straight shot. You get every time you turn around, somebody's trying to make you pay them money for information that you should have as a veteran. And it hurts me inside because do you know how many people believe that they need to pay all this money for like a DBQ? And it's like, or pay to get this information.
I had a veteran pay $2,000 for one.
Yeah.
That was one of those what you call it, kind of rubber stamp one.
Yeah.
And ineffective.
Just or it's for an increase, and that's not needed. Like that's the thing that gets me is that could I make this into a business? Could I do well with it? Yeah, but at what cost? For me personally, but at what emotional cost for me? Could I look myself in the mirror? I feel guilty for the ads people have to watch. On my videos.
100% guaranteed. Oh, you talking about as far as because you're monetized. No, that's good.
Yeah.
Because we click right back on. Now, don't you feel guilty about that? And it's like you were saying, is it the fact that some people don't even, you do something unique. And I'm supposed to be giving you the last word, so I got it. Bad host. You remember from Harry Potter, Bad Dobie. Oh boy. So you do something that's very unique in that you'll read your super chats, but you also read other people. Some people, if you don't super chat, they won't read it, and you don't have no secret rooms to go in. If you want to know more, if you want to know the answer, you got to come in this secret room, and then we'll give you. There you go. Yeah. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna and that's the thing. It's on my mission statement, so I'm not gonna make people like everything. If you just subscribe to the channel, hell, you don't even have to subscribe to the channel. Just ask a question. It's this information, in my opinion, should be free. Now, should you pay people for expertise? Sure, right? I'm retiring. I'm in the process of retiring from rating, and I will be at one point in time moving, hopefully applying to become an accredited claims agent in the future.
Yes.
But I'm probably going to keep that separately from the channel because I want somewhere for people to just go and get information and use it as a springboard or as a kind of a soundboard for my VSO saying this, is this right? Type thing, or, have because not all these actors out there are good. They're not.
One day we made to talk about that. What are some of the signs? We ain't got to call people by name, but what are some of the signs you dealing with a bad actor? See, quick, fast, easy is mine, and 100% guaranteed. I say, how can somebody guarantee you something and they haven't even seen your evidence or your disability that you're claiming?
Well, 100% guarantee if you don't get to the next higher level is fine, because then you don't lose anything for using them. If that's true, if that's their true business model is 100%, guarantee that you'll X, Y, and Z, whatever they're guaranteeing, as long as they honor it, that's cool. I like that because that's take an action with no risk.
Gotcha.
Like, so I'm fine with that. But I'm not fine with like people going, okay, you're 0% for asthma, you've got an inhaler. Pay me pay me $2,000 and I'm going to get you that increase. It's like, no, if they just file this claim themselves, show the fact that they have an inhaler, they're going to be increased from 0% to 10 or 30%, depending on how the inhaler is prescribed. Like, that's on rails. That'll sort itself out. And then what'll happen is the company will go, yeah, we got you that. No, you didn't.
No,
You didn't get them anything. You didn't do anything for them. You did. And I mean, I'm not harping on the claims company. There's some good actors out there. There's some bad actors. In the future, what I'd like to do, honestly, is I would like to maybe do very, very challenging claims.
Okay.
So like whenever I become a claims agent, I won't tell you what my name is. I'll just be an accredited claims agent. And then if you figure out who I am on there, then you can figure out who I am. I'm not going to link my channel with it and say, you've got to, at least I'm not thinking about that right now, and then just do really hard claims. You were denied back in 1967 and, you had this, and this, let's see if we can do something. And if we can, we can. If we can't, we can't, type thing. But
is it practical to have claims workshops where you can kind of explain to the veteran, in a layman's term, the process? Do you think many times they're just confused?
That's kind of like, if I was to do something like a business for that is something that I'm very interested in, is smaller workshops for people. So that way, if they have a question about, like, let's say MUCMES, Gulf War syndrome, would you like to know everything that there is to know about MUCMES? Sure, come to that class or something. Like teach people things. Like I'm down for that. I'm not down for like, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but yeah, I think something like that might be in the future. It's just the future's the future. For right now, the Raider HQ channel itself is except for coffee. I will sell out for coffee, and I will meet anyone down in the parking lot that disagrees with that choice, because coffee has nothing to do with claims processing. Right.
I heard Charleston mention in your chat Irish coffee. So I apologize if I'm being stereotypical. He said Irish. He mean is alcohol in the coffee, or there is an actual Irish coffee? I didn't know if that was a joke in there.
I think that was just a joke. For me, it's just really coffee, right? Like, I just think it would be cool to have a sponsor that was a coffee company, because they couldn't influence me to promote a claims company. They couldn't influence me to promote a DBQ Nexus company. It would just be coffee, right? Like, and if you wanted to use their coffee, then you could use their coffee, but it has nothing to do with my message, right? I just don't want somebody telling me how to do what I do.
So it'd be hard to have somebody, a medical company sponsor you, because that could be an issue with them trying to control how you say, okay, I got you.
Because I can't guarantee what their product is. I've already been approached by a couple of the Nexus letter companies, and I'm not going to name them because I'm a gentleman, but did I leave a lot of money on the table? Yes. But
that's lucrative, bruh.
But I don't want to. Like, it's not about the money. It's literally about the education. Like, it's literally about making sure that, hey, look, you can go anywhere. There are small channels. Like, that's what I like about yours, is I don't see that on there, right? Yeah. Like, I don't see any of this on there. But I see small channels, like half your size, that have Nexus claim companies linked to them and stuff. And it's like, really? Why? Like, stop. You can't guarantee what they're going to put out. And, I don't know.
Raider HQ, from what I gather, and I think you said it, you don't like gatekeepers either. You don't like people that hold back information from veterans that should be given to them for free if they...
That's true. Yeah, I don't like that because that entire process is mirrored in the way the VA teaches their VSRs and their raters. They gatekeep information.
Yes, sir.
So within themselves, they gatekeep information to where I didn't learn about how any of the rating process worked until I became a rater. Because they silo information. They keep it so hush hush.
Yes, they do.
And I just don't care for it. But yeah, I don't know. Like that's one of the things I'm gonna try to put out like videos and try to put out just as much information to where I want the veteran to be able to do their own claim, submit their own stuff, understand a basic functional understanding of how things work. And I don't need to be the best at this. I don't need to be the only one. Like that's why, like, if you see anything on my content that you want to reiterate, you're free to do that. You are free to do that. There ain't no like. I don't. It is my intellectual property, but I'm not the captain of all the information. Like everybody can. There's enough pie for everybody, right?
My
Like,
brother, if you want to use my content, any of it, you welcome to do so. Let me tell you, you've been a person that I just respect. Something like what you said. I pay attention to people. And for a while, I hadn't seen you for a while, or you wasn't recommended. Brother, we got something we never had. 37 likes in here. And I mean, before the live stream was over. Brother, thank you. Any other last words? I promise to shut my mouth now.
Well, I hope we can do this again to where we just chat. Because and just talk about stuff, because I love talking about this topic. I'm passionate about it. I love talking about it. And if it can bring more people to your channel, like if you want to schedule something in advance to where,
yes,
maybe you and I to where we can have your channel grow. Look, man, I'm not in this to be the biggest guy.
You're trying to make me, you're the reason black men cry in the dark. You're making me sensitive. That's why they wrote the book. It's because of you. Look at it. He trying to get me all emotional. I'm an emotional thug, okay? Listen, yes, indeed, brother, because you know one thing, what I like about our dynamic, you got the answers, and I know how to ask questions. I don't have the answers, but you're like it's like I used to watch this karate movie, loved it, from the 70s, and one was blind and the other one couldn't hear, and they both would fight together and helping to beat the enemy, because one would use the other one's sight and the other one would use his hearing, and they would be support. And that's what I appreciate. We gotta do this, brother, as many times you like to do it. You just let me know. We'll set it up, because I think that's what we need, is where we have something like this, both our channels will grow. See, it's the key thing, because I know the questions to ask, because my mind is just kind of a racer, and that's why I try not to bombard you with too much. And then it's going to bless the family, because there's a lot of things that we don't know that you can help us looking at it from the Raider side of the game.
Well, and that's a very good point, because I need the other side of that coin, because there are some things that I like, and it's not me being an elitist or anything like that, but it's literally like things that are so common to me. I don't notice that not everybody knows this. And I sometimes need to have that conversation with people, because I forget what I know not everybody else knows.
Yeah. And now let me say this right quick. While he's talking, y'all put a yes in the chat if you'd like us to do a collaboration again, where we focus totally on the information back and forth. As let us know. Put yes in the chat. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, and I just see there's some people that make people charge people for collaborations and whatnot. I'm not like that. I'm not anything like, no. So like anytime you just want to just shoot the breeze and have a themed conversation, like as you kind of notice, I don't need much prep time. I can talk about anything. And literally, like, I've memorized so much of it and I'll bring receipts. So if because I'm on StreamYard also, so it allows me to potentially present information at times, I think, if
Yes,
I'm the
and you
guest.
can
Yeah.
help me because I'm not. Look, the reason I'm not monetized because I don't know how to do it. I know how to do some things, and maybe you can kind of help me with that. Look what everybody's saying. You got
Yeah.
it on fire. Look, they already said it before we asked. Then
Yeah.
Dome said yes, and then LJ says yes. Finch, I ain't see. These are people that been with me a while, and they just been sitting back in the cut. They here. MG say Charleston say yes. Nacho Man say yes, but you got to bring the cheese. I'll bring the nachos, bro. Now I'll bring the chips. Listen, then
Now-
Costa, go ahead. Absolutely, LC. And Betty Bob say fire and love. Go ahead.
So you've got how far off are you just on the subscribers? You've got the hours, right, to monetize.
No, I got all of it. I've been having it for a year. I try to do it, and they keep kind of sending me back. They like, I don't know I can't find. I usually look at YouTube videos on how to monetize. I've had all that for over a year. I just don't know how to do it. See, I'm in some ways I got knowledge. In other ways, I'm limited. Simple stuff stumped me. I don't know how to explain it to you. I'm like Rain Man. You know what I'm saying? I can give you all the numbers, but ask me to tie my shoes, and I get confused without my medicine.
Well, maybe sometime offline, you and I can just have a Google Meet call or something like that, like a
Yes.
Google call, just you and me,
Yes, sir.
and we can go through that and we can get that remedied because, you know, it definitely, you know, if you're going to spend this much time on it, you know, that ad revenue, it trickles in, but you know, it does. Have you set up an AdSense?
No,
Okay,
that's
yep,
why I got
that's
stuck
why.
and I got frustrated. Okay. I'm
That's why.
gonna get you to help me behind the scenes. Jay Oliver say like Marvin Sapp, the black gospel singer, and David Ramsey, the crazy chef. She say we gonna be see in family. By you doing this, I'm able to. What brought people to my channel is I'm able to be humorous. By having you here, I'm able to express myself because me having to think about more than one thing at a time. I try to focus, but they love you. You just bring out the best in me, man. You haven't hurt my feelings but one time, and that's only because I asked you to. I'm joking around now. MG Smith says H-Town and Raider, a great combination. This is what we're talking about, and we can be an example for other individuals. Let me tell you why I appreciate what he said, because Raider it's not like a whole bunch of preconditions. I will respect whatever he asks me, you know, as far as how we do it, but I respect his time, and he respect my time. And I'm gonna tell you what really blew my mind. He has close to 10,000 subscribers, but he came to me. He commented on my channel. That shows he like me. I have no ego to inflate or offend. Family, go ahead. What you say, brother?
I enjoy watching people. I enjoy I like watching people with a variety of knowledge on the topic because it helps me to understand sometimes where the pulse of the veteran community is. Like, what are we missing? What are we missing, guys? Like, what are we missing? And sometimes, like, I get some of my best inspirations from just watching people and going, wow, that's very powerful. And, you know, like the Salty Old Marine, the Salty Marine, like both of them, you too, you know, like, and this is your show. Like, it's not like I'm a guest here and I'm humbled that I'm on here and I get to talk. I just love to talk. I'm kind of a talky, chatty person.
And I love to ask questions.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, as long as everybody, like, the only boundary that I would have is, like, can I see your name on here? Yes. Do not reiterate what your name is to me, please. Do not say I am Jack Smith and this is my social security number. Like, if you're going to, like, you can provide examples on here and that's fine, but I just can't know anything specifically about you. Like, about just for the boundary, right? Like, just to set a effective boundary. That's like the only boundary that I have. And I'm not going to tell people how to cheat the system. So I'm not saying that your audience would do that. I'm not saying that. Like, that's not what I'm saying.
Full disclosure.
Full disclosure. I will not answer questions that are disingenuous up front.
Yes.
And I'm just saying, sometimes, like you saw, sometimes on my live streams, I get some rowdy characters fly through there. You get more people on here, you might get a rowdy one too. Who knows? But
we had one tonight, and he was from about 8 months ago, but he from a year ago. So he come in here, and I didn't block him, but I timed him out tonight. He was asking about basic training. He do the repetitive kind of thing. He come in, he say good praise things. We call it tiptoeing. I got the 4 T's. The first thing they do, they tiptoe. They come in acting nice. Then they do the twist where they start talking about garbage. Then they just troll out.
Yeah.
Right. Then the last thing they do is tap out. And I got him up out the paint. I gave him a little while. See, I give him about 3s. I work in 3s because he'd already been warned. That's why he ran off. So yeah, brother. So see, I had to get a troll. I had an individual here that claimed to be a claim agent. And when I first started the channel, who was very helpful, but was trying to either control my channel or destroy it. But I just waited around. I waited around because guess what? I'm a focused individual. One thing, everything you see me doing is transparent. What I feel, you'll know it. I don't talk behind. Nobody ever said, you know what, H-Town was talking behind my back. If I got something to say to you, I'm gonna contact and let you know.
Well, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna as long we're on message, so I mean, I don't think there's ever going to be any kind of see, that's the beauty part about this. The content creates itself, right? Everybody's talking here about the same thing. We don't have to make anything up. We don't have to talk about braiding each other's hair. We don't have to do anything, we just talk about the issues at hand, especially if there's some news issues, which I do suggest you look up that Philadelphia thing. You will be alarmed by it.
And California. They know I do deep dives.
Yep.
I do deep dives into those things. You see how I've been dragging the senator Combat Timmy. I brought out all kind of receipts on him not because I try to pick on individuals, but when people speak on our business, if you doing what he doing, do what you do, man. But don't come over here and you in a glass house throwing rocks at us.
But those 2 instances, and throw Puerto Rico in there too, but that's what's fueling the fire. That's pardon me. That's what's fueling the fire.
We need to cover that because we covered Puerto Rico, but we need to do Philadelphia and California.
Yeah, because there's specifically this is not done in a vacuum. The fraud isn't necessarily the systemic fraud is what the Washington Post is talking about. And they're taking samples from all, they're starting out with the veteran community. But when you find these bad actors, these bad employees that are doing very, very bad things, it starts to put the entire system in under the microscope.
It's a snowball effect. Yes.
Yep. Yeah. So, and it just so happens that all these people are just now coming out of the woodwork and just horrible things. The guy from California is the more egregious one, $1 million of just fleecing money out of people.
Now I want to ask
specific.
Okay. I want to ask you this here, brother. When it comes to, and I try to break this down, that if a veteran, because it says if we get a condition in the military in a combat zone, or whether it's a hazardous situation that's non-combat. When you're looking at claims, does it matter? Because I know one difference is they say, I don't know if it's still the same, that I was in a combat zone, but I'm what you call a reliable historian because of post-traumatic stress disorder. I explained what the situation, because wasn't nobody sitting around with a video camera and I wasn't keeping a log at the time. So is there any weight to being a combat veteran over non-combat? This is an issue that people trying to do a lot of difference. I want you to speak freely. So
overall claims, you claim your foot? No. You claim just about anything? No. The location of depending on what theory we're trying to go for, if you're going for a presumptive theory, you're trying to claim asthma due to Southwest Asia under 38 CFR 3.320, yeah, it matters. It matters where you were.
Okay.
Where you were typically matters more than what you were doing. The only exception to that is PTSD. Okay. PTSD has technically four different categories of stressors.
I'm
You've got
listening.
combat, non combat, personal trauma, and MST. Okay. Personal trauma is different than MST because that's where you like got beat up, you got, somebody mugged you, like it's personal to you that you had something happen to you, but it's non-sexual. So there's
Like a,
personal trauma.
like a blanket party.
Yeah, blanket party, bar fight, something where your life, limb, eyesight was potentially at issue to where you felt fear of your life, right? And you have like non-combat, which is the majority of PTSD, where it's like I was in a car accident,
Yes.
or something like that, or I watched a plane crash. I wasn't in the plane, I just watched it crash. That's non-combat. Combat has actual combat where you have like a combat action ribbon, combat action badge, or you can have situations where fear of hostile military or terrorist activities.
Yes.
Yes. So the combat in that situation, I mean, it takes us about 2 seconds. Where did he deploy? Did he deploy to Iraq? Oh, he did? Or Saudi Arabia during a qualifying period of time? Okay, good. That's about as much time as I spend on that. Like,
Okay.
if your PTSD is due to your combat, we spend very little amount of time reviewing the combat. No C stories.
Okay. See, so fair. Look what he said. He Charleston say Sean Ryan. He's a Navy SEAL. Don't agree. SEAL approve. he because he talking to all this man. And he say no C stories on here. And he says also you found the post here. H-Town got his finger on the post. We're real. This is a real family. These are people that have been with me. And that's what I think that's important. And boy, we need to dab into the MST because I see a lot of insensitivity when it comes to people that have military S trauma. Now, and a lot of people don't know that a large percentage are males because there's more men in the military. I mean, a larger number of male, the percentage is 1 out of 3. I think at the time, 1 out of 3 females, though. Now, what you were saying? Go ahead, bro.
Yeah. So the combat PTSD, like, it's really weird because if you're combat, then it's guaranteed. It's pretty much guaranteed as long as the examiner says that your PTSD isn't due to your divorce or not due to your so-and-so. If they say, yeah, I think it's his PTSD, the diagnosis is due to combat in Iraq. As long as you were in Iraq and you had combat, and I can show both, then we grant. There's no real medical opinion for PTSD. It's just, are the facts found true? Right? Like, is it true that he was in Iraq? Yes. Is it true that the examiner thinks that the Iraq service caused the PTSD? True. Okay, good, grant.
I know you're telling the truth because when I went to my exam, you just clarified some things for me because I was working at the time and I felt like that wasn't an issue of mine. They sent me in there. Matter of fact, it was a VA employee say, you need this here. Because I was in there and I say, you know what? They wouldn't help me with the fingers. I got injured in Desert Storm. I say, so I handle this on my own. I guess they thought I was going to come back and tear the place up or something. No, don't go. You go. She grabbed my arm. I say, ma'am, you can't hold me here. And she wrote on the paper PTSD. And I say, what that got to do with my fingers? She say, please just submit this. I submitted. I wasn't thinking nothing. They sent me to an exam. I felt like I was being ambushed. And I told the doctor, I said, I don't have no problems. I'm good. Then he asked me about what went down in the war. I said, yeah, but I got to go back to work. I'm stable enough to work. He still service connected me, even though I told him I don't have no PTSD.
Yeah, because that's like, we're not very good at diagnosing ourselves.
Oh,
so it's just one of those things where they make it easier. The VA has made it easier for combat veterans to get service connected for PTSD without having to prove things.
Yes.
Same thing with the MST side of the category is that even if there's no official evidence, we can use what are known as behavioral markers, and we can go through and look to see, did the veteran start behaving differently? Ask for transfers, like stuff that might not itself indicate that a trauma happened, but it's indicative of a change of behavior, which kind of insists that something happened because they started being AWOL more. They got Article 15s. They,
Yes.
and I've been an MST coordinator historically, and I was able to grant people, veterans, survivors, for MST. And it's very like that is, you have to have a lot of emotional resiliency to be an MST coordinator, because you're
Yes, sir.
just reading people's trauma again and again and again, and it's just the worst things you can humanly ever read. So you can't do it for long, or else it just wears you down.
It'll wear you down. Now, what?
Yep.
Here Nacho say the MST investigation for claims and wanting evidence. That is terrible. First I hear of that, meaning the way they was asked for that kit. But brother,
Yeah,
thank
that
you.
was one time thing. Like that was one person doing their own personal bias against it. Like you had to prove to them beyond a reasonable doubt. Like think about watching Law and Order. Like they were sitting in the courtroom being the judge, and you had to prove it to them. And that person no longer works at the VA, thankfully.
Yeah, and you had the insight because he understood that letter could have been a trigger that led to horrible consequences for the veteran. Thank you.
Yeah, no, people do the weirdest things when they stop remembering that there's a human being on the other side of each claim. It's very weird.
All right, well, brother, we're gonna let
Yep.
you go. Everybody show love. Good evening. Thank you, brother.
Yep. Shoot me an email. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a
I
wonderful
will be
night.
shooting you one. Okay, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's fine. Have a wonderful night. Goodbye, everyone. Bye.
Goodbye. Take care, my brother. Bye. Did y'all see what happened? Look, family, y'all starting problems. Y'all ain't nothing but trouble because y'all know me and HQ Raider could talk for the longest. Y'all trying to break the 6-hour live stream we had. That's what y'all trying to do. And they saying good night, Raider HQ. So everybody show love to Raider HQ because we appreciate him. I appreciate y'all. Betty Bob say Raider HQ good night. Nacho says thanks. Charleston says good night, Raider. Jay Oliver say thanks, Raider. Well, family, we did this thing, didn't we do it? We're gonna get ready to close it out. Go ahead and say what y'all gotta say. Show love to our brother for bringing that knowledge. Family, what we got going on over here that we got people like our brother HQ Raider coming on over here and rocking with us. Man, what is it about y'all? Because Coach says thank HQ Raider. And Betty Bob say good night, Sister Betty. Yes, I mean, MG Smith say good night. Say Betty, good night, Sister Betty. Everybody start showing love. We're gonna close it out. Man, we're gonna be doing this thing. Awesome show tonight. Benny, did we got down that time, Benny? Benny, we got down that time. And this inspires me because I'm telling you, I know I'm a little rough with the way I talk sometimes, but the facts that they should be ready to understand, I got a big heart, man. You know what I'm saying? My daughter, don't y'all laugh. She say, Dad, sometimes when I was telling about how I was blocking certain people, she say, Daddy, you a dictator. I said, I'm a dictator with a heart. She ain't let me live that one down. She say, Dad, do dictators have heart? Heart? Oh Lord. Oh boy. Now this is what we getting back to. Well, we're gonna be chopping it up and having fun. You understand? And we're gonna bring you knowledge and thank God for our brother because we gotta collaborate because we serve together. So why can't we work together? Talk to me now. Raider tracked you down, H-Town. Good night, family. Yes, indeed. Now, yeah, about them Benedict Arnolds. You know what's up. Yes, indeed. One of the greatest war heroes in the world. However, he was the greatest traitor of our country, too. Yes, the same place that he lived, he got on a British ship and blew the city up. Did you hear what I said? Don't get me started on him. Now, Betty Bob's H-Town, have a beautiful evening and enjoy your lovely week. Happy New Year's. Family, get the rest that you need where you got to get back and make sure you start setting up your appointments, family. Good night. Yes, indeed. Benny says, good night, everyone. Enjoyed tonight. Yes, we did. Family, I think, how many we looking, Betty, how many we looking? One last time, how many likes we got? This is going to be a good year. We about to blow up here. Nacho Man says, have the week y'all deserve. Yes. And for those I ain't seen yet, Crimson Alumni 4, our sister Alaskan Ice, Bionic Woman, our brother Rose City D, I think he was in the night. All the other ones that I love like that. You understand what I'm saying? I know y'all around. Huh? Family, we got 31 likes up in here. I don't even want to look and see how many views, because you know we got probably a couple of hundred views, if not more. Family, what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut this out as a separate video, and I'm going to figure out how to do it and do the other part. That's why we did it afterward. Thank y'all so much. Oh, we going to make this thing work. We going to do it. Huh? Now, y'all say good night and welcome to the nation, Venezuela. Oops. Wow, man. Are we colonizers again? We got to get into that. Are we mercenaries? Wow. We taking over countries again? Family, I want to say thank y'all for being here. I want to thank y'all for covering the topic, being so respectful and interactive. We appreciate that, family, because we doing this thing. This is why we got the trolls out. Had one here tonight. He was an old troll from way back, but he kind of would skate around. So we finally, I gave him a few chances. I wasn't going to pull him up on. He said some good stuff. He tiptoed. Then he pivoted. Basic training. That repetitive kind of trolling. Jay Oliver, wow. Family, I ain't got time to be playing with y'all. Charleston was over there. Family, go over to our brother's channel and make sure y'all you go over to our brother's channel. Hold on, what happened here? I don't know. Let me see here. Let me make sure. Give me 1 second, fam. Go over to our brother's channel, Raider HQ, and make sure you subscribe if you haven't. I really would appreciate it if you feel like the information is informative. And let's get him over 10,000 subscribers, fam. We got to do this here. Didn't ask me for a dime. You understand? You know what I told him? When I get my food stamps, I do something real nice for you, but I'm kind of strapped right now. Thank him and thank you. And family, we're going to say good night and thank you for viewing and being here tonight and taking our time with me and Raider HQ and the veteran family. Thank you, chat. Good night.